kids are not as technically inclined.
Just, you mean downloading itself?
Yeah, man, this whole generation is just like this new wave of kids. It's like a catch-22 because they grew up with this awesome tech that's been finessed. You go to the app store, you want something, you tap a button, it gets downloaded. But when we didn't have that option, we couldn't afford it, you had to think outside the box. You had to be clever. You had to research how this shit works. We weren't on Macs. And the thing about PCs in a really interesting way is that PCs were like a nightmare. There were so many moving pieces. It was so easy for you to fuck something up, delete the system 32 files or something, and delete drivers and shit for not to work.
The moment you delete an exe or DLL file, you're donezo.
It's like, that. Yeah, and I feel like because we grew up on that, we became very handy. We started understanding like systems on a deeper level. And these kids now, I think they're like crippled in a way because it's just
everything is handed to them on a platter.
They never had to figure out how to work a VCR. I remember like in kindergarten, man, we had the VCR. I wanted to record the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles when I was in school. So you just press buttons and I didn't even speak English at the time. So you're just literally hitting buttons. You're trying to figure out, okay, I'm cycling through 3 options with the mode button. Okay, so there must be these 3 entities. And then when I hit select, I enter one. So inside of each, and you kind of like map out this mental model of how the system works.
Yeah.
Now,
never touch the Windows files.
You go to the App Store, you tell Siri, I want to download Spotify. Boom. App Store is open. You hit a button, it's there. So I feel like when we didn't have that luxury, it exercises your mind a lot more. Like you have to figure out and construct these mental models. And like it's like the gym, right? Like you're working out these muscles in a way. And now I feel like these kids, I don't know if they technically can use torrents, a lot of them.
I don't think they can.
Anybody born after like probably like 96, 7, I don't think I think the minority can probably even figure out what a torrent is and how to work it.
I'd be sure if you ask most of them, they may have heard of it, but they've probably never used it. I think everyone now, what I've understood from young kids, most of their parents give them a credit card and then they just add it on to their account and they just spend however the parents give them permission for.
Yeah.
It's like a, agency relationship. You have authority to spend this much.
And also, man, people don't have computers in the traditional sense. Like everybody's got iPads and iPhones. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So it made everything simpler. Apple made everything simpler in a way. Because
but it came at a cost.
Absolutely.
There was a cost to it.
Because when we had like in 01 to like 2010, people barely used Apple, I think after that, like there was an exponential increase, whether you look at schools, whether you look at the social environment, whether you look at Starbucks.
I wouldn't say it was just Apple. I think people started moving to mobile devices.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids that have never in their lives owned a laptop, period. Mm-hmm. Just like an iPad or a tablet. Mm-hmm. And those are like self-enclosed systems where everything works. Yeah. They don't really give you access to under the hood. So you never really, it's like driving a car and you never pop the hood and you understand how the shit works underneath. Yep. It's like, don't worry about it. It's taken care of.
Yeah.
And it's great because it eliminates the burden of you trying to like troubleshoot stuff and fix it. But at the same time, it robs you of that analytical process of just, okay, how does this work? I deleted this won't open. Okay, this is called a driver. What the hell's a driver? You research it. I think there's a lot to be said for that, man. Mm-hmm. That we grew up on PC. Mm-hmm. I almost think that if you have a kid or something in 2019, 20, I think you're better off not giving them tablets and iPhones. I think you're better off giving them a PC where they can delete shit and fuck it up and try to figure out what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know the Raspberry Pi.
I've heard about it where it's like very cheap.